News, politics, entertainment, and more. Welcome to The Informant. Independent talk, pursuing truth, informing everyone. Now, here is The Informant, Eric Thompson.
Hey, good evening to you. Welcome to The Informant. For those of you out on the East Coast, good morning to you. Thank you again so much for joining me as we're on here Monday through Friday on Spreaker. You can also hear the show on the-informant.com and some other platforms. But if you go on the website, you'll be able to see all the social media places. Especially, I want you to check out magabook.com. That's my social media platform that we're adding features to because, as we're going to talk about later in the show, Facebook, as well as countries overseas, they're just tightening and tightening what is acceptable speech. But we'll get to that later on. We have a lot to cover today, and I do thank you for listening in. President Trump is kind of doing, I guess you'd call it a victory lap, where he's just talking, going on the different media outlets, going on Fox and in the different platforms, and any time he goes to get on a Air Force One or the helicopter, it's like, I'd love to talk to you guys now. And there was even a tweet that he's even considering maybe going to the media's annual dinner that he's been avoiding because they basically harass him, and the fake Russia collusion story has been hanging over his head. So it's kind of like, why do I want to go there just to get harassed? But now that to most of the world, the fake Russia collusion hoax, okay, it's done, right? For most normal people, for people who have not been drinking the Trump derangement syndrome Kool-Aid, it is. So President Trump's going around as though it's over. So here on Fox News, it says Trump vows to release FISA docs now. People have been asking for him to release a lot of the documents because as the chief executive of the United States of America, the president, he can tell the Department of Justice and anybody he wants, you go ahead and show the world that document. Or those documents. And no, we can't do that. Go ahead and do it. Well, we've been asking for the FISA docs, and now because the Russian Mueller probe is over technically, he told Sean Hannity in an interview, I'm going to release the FISA docs now that the Mueller probe is concluded. And then he slams the treasonous FBI. I think the president received a lot of counsel during the over 2 years of the bogus pursuit of him, saying, let's just stay the course. We're going to keep you in line, and we're going to make sure that this blows over. So we're not going to, don't release stuff right now, and let's just wait till it's over. Well, it's over. So now President Trump can be really, really transparent, and the docs are going to start coming, and I think the deep state is very concerned. The article says, President Trump in an exclusive wide-ranging interview Wednesday night with Fox News Hannity vowed to release the full and unredacted Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA warrants, and related documents used by the FBI to probe his campaign, saying he wants to, quote, get to the bottom, unquote, of how the long-running Russia collusion narrative began. And I think that is a very, very important place to start. Trump told anchor Sean Hannity that his lawyers previously had advised him not to take the dramatic step out of fear that it could be considered obstruction of justice. Quote, I have plans to declassify and release. I have plans to absolutely release, unquote. Trump said, quote, I have some very talented people working for me, lawyers and they really didn't want me to do it early on. A lot of people wanted me to do it a long time ago. I'm glad I didn't do it. We've got great results without having to do it, but we will. One of the reasons that my lawyers did not want me to do it is that they said if I do it, they'll call it a form of obstruction. And President Trump does that frequently. He will kind of recircle his thought. I would do it, except it would be considered obstruction of justice. And then he gets to the end of his statement. And why didn't I do it? Because my lawyers said it could appear to be obstruction of justice. But he added, frankly, though, it would be better if we held it to the end. But at the right time, we will be absolutely releasing it. What the FISA applications are going to show is that multiple people in the FBI lied to FISA judges by not telling them that the Clinton campaign paid for this fake dossier to even be assembled. They didn't tell the judges that the information was not corroborated and paid for by the Clintons. And Rosenstein was signed off on the 4th because they got the FISA warrant so they could listen to Carter Page and start the whole process. But then they had to keep renewing it, and they renewed it 3 additional times, saying, yeah, it's still legit. There's still a concern of Russia collusion because of this document. So we're going to see who signed off on it. Judges, and then the case against each one of them will be solidified, and then the Attorney General, who then can then go after all of them, I believe, because they all broke the law extremely by lying to FISA judges with their actions. Trump also accused FBI officials of committing treason. That's what I'm talking about. Slamming former FBI Director James Comey as a terrible guy, former CIA Director John Brennan as potentially mentally ill, and Democrat House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff as a criminal. Now, that is where President Trump is at today. But the same people that he just mentioned, well, they're furious at who? Who is John Brennan really angry at? Why is James Comey confused? Because the deep state had it all planned out, and it was not supposed to go this way. In their minds, well, Rosenstein had brought in Mueller, and then Comey got fired, but he knew that because Rosenstein had told him, and then because Comey was fired, then we're going to be able to say later that was obstruction of justice, and Brennan's out running around. I got little people in the intelligence departments that are leaking to me, and boy, President Trump's going to go down, and his family are going to get arrested as the last thing Mueller does, and oh man, it's all coming down. Well, that's not what happened. The Mueller report came out, but Attorney General Barr looked at it after sitting down with Mueller and said, hey, Congress, here is the summation. No collusion, no obstruction of justice. So, article here from the Gateway Pundit. Ex-CIA Chief John, I am a just loser Brennan, turns his ire toward who? AG Bill Barr. He just came in. What's he have to do with this? Because he didn't say what they wanted him to say. He just said what was the truth. The problem is John Brennan, because he had his security clearance until President Trump stripped it, was able to get hired by these media outsourcers like CNN, make a lot of money, and say, hey, I got I got the high security clearances, and I know people still in the intelligence, the FBI, and the CIA, Homeland Security. I know people. And I'm telling you what's going to happen. So it says here, former CIA chief turned Twitter troll John Brennan attacked Attorney General Bill Barr on Tuesday after Mueller concluded that Trump's campaign did not conspire with Russia. Brennan's not the only one. Comey's not the only one. Because you just heard President Trump saying that he thinks that Brennan is possibly mentally ill, right? He says that Comey's a terrible guy, and Adam Schiff, he describes him as a criminal. Well, we'll get to Schiff. But right now, Brennan's like, you know what? I'm furious with AG Barr. It says Attorney General Bill Barr's summary of Mueller's report also stated that President Trump did not obstruct justice. Just 2 weeks ago, former CIA chief John Brennan, who President Trump thinks could be mentally ill, attacked President Trump, saying Robert Mueller would indict Trump family members on collusion as his last act. So Don Jr. was going to go down. Kushner was going to go down because they were all part of it. Manafort, General Flynn. Actually, none of them were, because it's all a lie. It's all a coup. It is something that is beyond my imagination. If you just try to write a story, this would be like a number one hit if somebody wrote a book about the intelligence department's coup of a presidential candidate and popular president. But the Brennan's got problems now because he's part of the mess that's going to probably go to jail. So Brennan now is looking around. CNN's like, what are you talking about? And MSNBC's like, hey, Brennan, you need to come back on TV here. Because you told us, and we paid you, because you know a lot. Or do you? Say, hey, it's just station identification. This is The Informant. Thank you so much for listening in. I'm on, like I said, Monday through Friday. Go to the-informant.com to get information on my show. And magabook.com if you want to connect with other patriots. All right, let's continue here. Thanks again for listening in. So, Brennan, MSNBC says, okay, get back over here. It says on Monday morning, John Brennan told Morning Joe he must have received bad information. Evidently, his deep state contacts led him astray. On Tuesday, however, Brennan turned his ire toward, like we just discussed, Attorney General Bill Barr in a pair of tweets. Quote, while Trump campaign engagements with the Russians were highly inappropriate. What engagements? We need to accept Special Counsel Mueller's finding that evidence of criminality was not established, Brennan said in the first of his two tweets. Brennan then attacked Attorney General Barr and the, quote, obstruction of justice issue and accused him of having a, quote, predetermined view on presidential accountability to the rule of law, unquote, adding, quote, we need to see the report, unquote. So let's see. Brennan's like, well, I must have got bad information. Sorry, MSNBC. Wait a minute. Oh, I can't say that. Wait, hold on a second. While Trump campaign engagements with the Russians were highly inappropriate, there weren't any, or they would have gotten busted for collusion, because remember, Barr said the Russians tried several times to get involved with the Trump campaign and they denied them every time. The Trump campaign denied two applicants from the FBI who were going to be